potential sign of life as rescuers race to find the submersible that vanished while diving on the Titanic shipwreck. Sonar has picked up banging sounds in the search area, and those sounds every 30 minutes. That is according to an internal U.S. government memo. Well, this morning, the Coast Guard says it's not clear what the source of the sound was, and Navy experts are analyzing it. It is estimated that the 5 passengers on board would have only about a day left of breathable air at this point, if that submersible is still intact. Here's what a former passenger on board that same missing sub said about what it's like inside.
As you start to descend through the water column, it is an amazing journey to see the light very quickly disappear. And within 5-10 minutes, you're in pitch dark, complete dark, and you have the lights from the sub, right? You have the lights from the submersible that you can see outside and internally. But without those, your light is gone at any depth below a couple hundred meters. So anyone in that would be in complete darkness if they didn't have power still at this point.
Well, take a look. This is new video from this morning of another rescue vessel heading out to join the search and rescue operations after the U.S. Air Force flew special equipment into Newfoundland. CNN senior national correspondent Miguel Marquez joins us in St. John's, Newfoundland. Miguel, good morning to you. Can you talk to us about what exactly the Coast Guard is doing this morning?
It is all hands on deck. There was a Coast Guard ship from the Canadian Coast Guard that just shipped out now. There was the Horizon Arctic, that's a private ship that left overnight. Both of them carrying gear, both of them heading out to the search area now in the hope that they can rescue the individuals who may be, as far as 2 miles down and looking for help. With regard to the sounds that were heard, this was over about a 4-hour period. There was a P-8, a Poseidon, a sub-hunter that had dropped buoys into the ocean. It heard banging. Every 30 minutes, they were hearing a regular banging. And then 4 hours later, they dropped more buoys in. They heard more banging. They sent remote-operated vehicles down to the location where they thought that sound was coming from, but were not able to find anything. They're now moving surface ships around the area to see if they can either hear other sounds. They heard other sounds after that initial period yesterday of about 4 or 5 hours or so, but it wasn't banging. So they're not clear. It's not clear what they were hearing down there at that point. But just an excruciating wait, an absolute concern here for what, if they are alive, what they must be going through down there in the cold and the dark, and just hoping against hope that they are rescued. Back to you.
Let's talk more about the search and the resources that are involved. You talked about that one ship that was en route, searching from the air, on the surface of the water, below the water. Miguel, what do you know?
So there were 3 U.S. military C-17s that landed here in St. John's in Newfoundland yesterday. That gear was offloaded from those planes, put onto we believe, the Arctic, the Horizon Arctic that went out about 2 hours ago. And there is everything from remote operated vehicles, submersibles that can dive down that deep, gear that if they find it, they can then winch it up if necessary, and even remote decompression chambers, so that if individuals come up and they are suffering the effects of decompression, they can put them in a chamber and hopefully save them. Everything that they can do, it seems, is being done. Back to you.
Miguel Marquez for us there in Newfoundland. Thank you, Miguel.
And as Miguel was just saying, this is a huge multinational search and rescue operation. It's in the air. American and Canadian surveillance planes are flying overhead. The Canadian P-3 drops torpedo-like sonar buoys into the water on the surface. You've got 5 vessels from the United States, Canada, and France. They've all been deployed and searching underwater. France's Victor 6000 deep-sea robot that can dive deeper than the Titanic wreckage. That's key, right? Because we're talking about 13,000 plus feet here. But the ship delivering it is only expected to arrive later tonight. And we know, Victor, time is of the essence.
Absolutely. Only 24 hours about of breathable air inside that vessel. Let's bring back now David Gallo. He's the senior advisor for the strategic initiatives for RMS Titanic Incorporated, which owns the exclusive salvage rights to the Titanic wreck site. David, let me ask you about the search area now, because the last update we received from the U.S. Coast Guard was that the scope was about 10,000 square miles. That's about the size of the state of Maryland, and they're looking for something the size of an extended cab pickup truck, right? Wow. So that's the perspective. Right. Once you hear the banging, do you concentrate on where that was, or do you expand because thus far you haven't seen anything in that 10,000 square miles?
Right. That's a big area, but they must have reasons to expand the search area to look there. I think you have to continue the air search in case the sub is at the surface. But I think it's so you can't ignore the banging, and you don't have time to wait to analyze the sounds exactly. So you have to assume, I think, that they're human-made, and then move equipment in that direction right now, so that if the analysis happens and you say, okay, that's the sub, that you already have vehicles on the spot. There's no time here to waste with waiting to analyze before you move that way. And I'm sure the Coast Guard is doing that. They're moving. In fact, I heard that they're vectoring in on that area. So my hope is that they do that quickly. I don't know if they've responded to the banging or sounds with another sound from the surface ship, from a surface ship back to the submarine, if it's a sub, to acknowledge that, yes, we hear you. So that we'll have to see if they've done that.
Yeah, maybe we'll find out at the next update from the Coast Guard. You have a dear friend on board. PH Nargolo is on board, so we are hoping right alongside you that they are all okay and still alive. Can you speak to what role these buoys that are dropped from the air with sonar, the ships and the aircraft, can all play together?
Yeah, the aircraft, so you can fly overhead looking down at the surface to spot things. You can use radar also to spot things at the surface. Once you get below the sea level, though, the water level, you're in a world of sound, not things you can see easily. But, sound travels a long way beneath the water. You can't hear that from a plane overhead, so they drop these torpedo-like sonobuoys from the plane into the water. They have the acoustic listening, so they're listening to the underwater world, and they take the sounds that they hear, they're very sensitive, and send them back to the aircraft for analysis. So it's the only way, really, you can hear what's going on in the deep from a plane overhead. Now, I don't know, typically these are made to find submarines for the most part, and submarines don't go anywhere near 3,800, Navy submarines don't go anywhere near 3,800 meters depth. So I'm not sure if the sonobuoys can hear that, but you have to assume that they can at this point. Time is out. Anyway, that's the best way to hear what's going on from a plane overhead.
Again, hopefully we get those answers from the U.S. Coast Guard when they give their update a little later today. David Gallo, thank you.
Yeah. I'm thinking about you and everyone who knows people on board for sure.